Hello, Luz. Thank you for joining us today to share your experience about teaching English in China. It's nice to talk to you. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, if you don't mind, so you can tell us more about your experience there. Uh, I will start with the one that how did you decide to come to China and teach English in the first place? Why exactly China, and what made you decide to come here?
To be honest, though, I came here simply because I was already living abroad. I was in a foreign country, and I've been living abroad now, not in China, in another country in Europe for 2 years. So I decided, why not change it up a bit? Why not go, I've been all over Europe, Greece, Italy, and all of that. So I was like, I've never really done Asia. So, like, why don't I try to live in Asia now? And I figured I picked China simply because, it's Asia's biggest country. It has, the most diversity, I think, within the Asian landscape. Like, you can go from cold to hot, it's humongous. So that's why, one of the main reasons why I picked China.
Great. As for your application, have you applied with several companies? And if yes, what made you choose specifically work and live in China?
I applied with several companies or agencies or whatnot. The thing is, this one was actually the one that got to me the quickest. So I answered to this one. I was like, this one, they want me to work for them now. So I was like, I really want to, to go abroad now. So that's the major reason as to why I picked this one.
Okay, can you describe a little bit the application process? Like, I mean, from the very start of application and until you came to China, what happened? What stages you have gone through?
It was pretty easy for me. I spoke to the recruiter lady. She basically, helped me out every step of the way with the visa, the information. She helped me fill out all my documents, and then, like, after a month, I was here. Then I was taken to a hotel. I stayed there for one day. It was pretty nice. One of the colleagues from the agency came in, gave me my phone card, and then after that, the next day I was in the school, and it was all pretty smooth. Like what can I? It was pretty smooth, fantastic.
Can you tell us more about your first week in the school itself? What was the process of the employment? What did you do during this whole week? And is it really hard to teach English in China?
Um, it's not hard necessarily to. It's pretty much the same process. Teaching them is not, especially since I'm already used to non-native speakers, it's not something really new to me. I did not find anything difficult at the moment. So far, everything has been good. It has been great. And I've been told basically that I landed in like one of the best schools that I could have landed in. And so far, everything has been going good for me. I have no issues whatsoever.
Great. As for your impressions about China, as you mentioned, it's the biggest Asian country and was your genuine experience. What were the things that you liked about China in the first place, and something maybe awkward or strange that you saw and was totally different experience from where you are?
I like how convenient this country is, as opposed to you can pay everything with one application, you can book everything with one application. WeChat is amazing. WeChat is king. I wish we had WeChat back home because, like, there's so many things you can do with it. Also, public transportation here. Back in Miami in America, I have to drive everywhere. Driving is very inconvenient with our traffic, especially back in my city. It's a mess. Here, also, public transportation back home is horrific. Taking the public bus, taking the train, the subway, whatever, taking any public transportation back home is horrific. So here, I was very impressed with transportation. It is very convenient. It's quick from point A to point B. You don't really have to mess with the traffic. So I was very impressed with the convenience of it all. It's a very convenient country, as opposed to any strange things. I mean, it's a different culture altogether. It's obviously not the West. I just find things, with the people, like, they're not as direct as they would be back home.
Mm-hmm.
Back home we're more direct. We get to, how do I put it? Like, we hit the nail on the head, but here people are less direct. Other than that, everything else is just pretty fine, pretty normal.
Are you comfortable as a foreigner in this country?
I am, to be honest. It's pretty safe. Like, here I can go, at night, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, get some food, get anything, and I'm perfectly fine. If I did that back home, I probably would have, something would have happened to me. So it's pretty safe. Like, it's fantastically amazing, because, like, I'm in such an urban city. But back home, being, I am from a gigantic urban city. Being in a giant city, you usually find a lot of things you don't want to see, and several things. And over here, you don't necessarily find that, outside in the streets. So it's very nice. It's super, super safe as compared to back home.
Okay. As for speaking about food, have you already tried the traditional Chinese food, and do you like it, or don't you like it?
I like the food here. The food it's fine. I wish I could have learned a little bit more, in the food department in Chinese necessarily, because, like, when I'm ordering food, I do struggle with that simply because I do not eat chilies. I don't eat any spice whatsoever. I don't like chili in my food, but other than that, the food is fantastic. So I'm still struggling with how to tell them I don't want chili, I don't want peppers in my food. But other Hello?
Yes, there was a slight disconnection, I guess, but no, it's fine. Well, as for the Chinese language, how do you get along with that so far? Do you try to learn? Is it hard for you to learn Chinese?
I mean, it's different for every foreigner. Some people are very into it. Some people, it depends on the person. For me, I've learned foreign languages before. However, I've learned European foreign languages. This, to me, is obviously, a whole different category. The tones confuse me. For me, it's pretty hard. Basically, for me, learning Chinese it's pretty hard. It's not impossible. I mean, it's doable to, get some of the basics down, but I personally struggle with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, as for the applications you usually use for everyday convenience, apart from WeChat, what kind of apps would you recommend using in China?
Taobao, it's very convenient if you want to order and buy things, Taobao's pretty legit. I also like the one called GD. GD is pretty fantastic. I like that one too. Alipay, if you want to, pay for things, I would suggest get Alipay and Didi. Here they don't have Uber or Lyft or taxi applications, so definitely, Didi is a must-have.
How do you find the cost of life in China? Is it expensive to live in the capital city, or is it expensive to buy food or anything?
For me, necessarily, like I said, everybody has a different situation, but for me, it is actually very, very cheap for me specifically. I find food extremely cheap. Like, again, that's also compared to what I get paid. Everything for me is super cheap, even though I am in the capital. Back home, it's like 10 times to like 11 times, it's very expensive where I'm from. So to me, this is really, really, really cheap, especially like the nice apartment where I'm at and everything. it's very fantastic. It's cheap for me.
Great. Speaking about apartment, can you tell us more about what kind of apartment you got? Is it comfortable or not? And is it furnished or not? So some details on the housing.
Mhm. My apartment is perfectly fine. I love it. It's brand new. It's very westernish, so I
Mm-hmm.
love the way it looks. Also, it's brand new, and it's like a giant high-rise building. So I love my apartment. As far as furnishing goes, yeah, we do have a table, we do have chairs, we have a bed. Um, it's it's also brand new. Like you can't complain on something that is literally brand new. It has heaters everywhere. You know, it's pretty good.
As for the apartment, do you live by yourself or do you share it with someone?
No, I have a roommate.
Mm-hmm.
Me and him, we both live in the apartment, and my roommate, is also from America, like me, so
Mm-hmm.
it's fantastic. It's also pretty nice, and yeah.
As for the school, how do you usually commute to school? How long does it take for you? And well, you mentioned it is quite convenient with the public transport, but still, how long do you usually
Um,
get?
it takes us an hour simply because the area where we live in is beautiful. It's nice. However, it's a bit far from school because like this would be like the suburbs of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So it does take an hour. So to go to school, you kind of have to like plan like a little bit ahead. Okay, if
Mm-hmm.
I start this time, I have to wake up an hour and something minutes before just so I can make it to work on time.
Mm-hmm. Speaking about your leisure time outside of the classroom, how do you usually spend it in the city? What do you like doing, and what would you recommend doing in Beijing?
I wouldn't recommend much of anything simply because I am new. I only been living here for a month,
Mm-hmm.
so I haven't had enough of a chance to see the city. So I can't really like recommend. Maybe when I see more of the city. I've only been in China for a month, so maybe when I see more of the city, I could give people tips
Mm-hmm.
on that. So far, I'm very new.
But have you gone out so far anywhere, like maybe local restaurants or any any places that are tourist attractions at least, or uh, public places?
Not necessarily. I've been to several restaurants with friends here and there, but other than that, I pretty much like go from school and then from school home. Maybe I go to a restaurant here and there, or like I'll walk around the park, but I haven't been to the famous areas.
Mm-hmm. Okay, as for the last question, people who want to come to China but still hesitate or do not know where to start, any piece of advice for those who still consider or hesitate?
Um, I would say, do your research. It's definitely a super, super safe country because that was like one of my biggest issues before I was like, it's safe, what am I getting into? But upon doing research, it's a super, super safe country, especially if you
Mm-hmm.
come from the US or somewhere else back in the West. It's super safe. And, just go for it. It's very good in job security. You can find jobs here really easily. You do make money. So, depending what your motivation is, and it's a large country. So if you necessarily don't like one area, you always have the option, okay, I don't like the cold, it's hot in the south, or I don't like, a hot climate, I can go up north, or I can go west somewhere drier, or somewhere in the middle. So, you have options. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
pretty good idea. Just go for it.
Great. Thank you for sharing your experience. It was my pleasure to talk to you. This will be very useful for our viewers on the website. And again, thank you.